Alright, Twilight Time, a CMC episode. I think this was good, although I'm still not 100% certain about, whether or not I would say that I actually liked the episode. I mean, it was a little bit sort of jumbled, I thought. It was a little bit sort of too much going on. It was it went one way, then it went another, then it went a different way. It just felt like a little bit sort of too much for a 22-minute episode, but first of all, I like the way that this is kind of an issue that is more sort of teen-oriented than kids-oriented. Because I've always thought with the CMC episodes, they have to be much more focused on the kind of problems that are exclusive to kids. Otherwise, what's the point of making it a CMC episode? It may as well be, an episode about one of the main six. And this is definitely an issue that definitely regards probably adolescence. So it's kind of popularity issue, people wanting, to know you. Because of, some cool thing that you've got, maybe not necessarily being associated with someone famous in the case of this episode, but because you've got something that they like, that sort of dilemma of, they are kind of just using you, but at the same time you kind of like the attention. I do think that's a very kind of relatable kind of issue with kids, and, there's been a lot of reviewers talking about, how this show is maturing along with, its target audience. The kids who started watching the show back in 2010, they're a little bit older now, so the episodes are becoming a bit more mature, and the CMC are getting older, and, in reality, I think the voice actresses that do the voices, they're getting older as well, because I think Sweetie Belle actually sounded a little bit older in this episode. Oh, I forget her name. I'll have to, edit it in or something. She is obviously going through puberty, it seems. And she sounds a little bit older in this episode. But yeah, that sort of popularity thing at school, it's very much something that adolescents go through. And, I actually liked Diamond Tiara in this episode, would you believe it? I was not sure for a long time after I watched this episode whether or not she was out of character, because she actually kind of wants to be nice to the CMC. Yeah, she kind of wants to be their friend. But I think I've eventually decided, the start of the episode, she is teasing them about the fact that, they're going to Manhattan and the CMC aren't and whatever. And then they find out that they know Princess Twilight. And then they sort of just want to use them, to, be with Princess Twilight. And from then on, it is just them sort of exploiting the fact that they can use them to get to Princess Twilight. So I don't think they're out of character in any kind of way. I think they are, it's not them bullying them in this episode, which is good. I can't stand it when they're bullying them. It's actually more them exploiting the CMC. So they are still the antagonists of the episode, but it's a different kind of antagonism. And it actually makes sense here to me to use Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon in this role, because there isn't really any other character at the school that you could use in this kind of role. Like, I really didn't understand why they didn't just introduce a new character in Ponyville Confidential to play Diamond Tiara's role. Yeah, and that's actually a classic example of a CMC episode that didn't really need to be a CMC episode. What interest did kids have in being journalists? But I'm getting off topic here. But yeah, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, I think they fit very well in this role. They're not bullies here, but it is kind of a similar kind of thing of them exploiting the CMC and trying to use them in various different ways. And kind of interesting, the new skills that they're learning here. Obviously, we have Sweetie Belle learning magic. Again, another indication that, they're getting a little bit older now. They're maturing. It kind of annoys me, actually, that it's taken 4 seasons to get the Sweetie Belle actually doing magic. I was kind of hoping we'd see that a little bit earlier. But she actually does seem to be sort of making some good sort of early progress. I mean, it's never really been explored in the show exactly how long it takes a unicorn to learn how to do magic and what difficult spells are. I mean, we had Twilight in the Cutie Mark Chronicles, just sort of not really being able to do anything, and then suddenly there's that sonic rainbow and she can do everything. That's really the only kind of development there's been of, unicorns learning magic. So it could be interesting if, we get a Sweetie Belle episode later on where she's learning a bit more magic, perhaps. Apple Bloom is learning potions. I think I know now where that apple that we see in Bats has come from now. Nick suggested when I reviewed Bats with him that apple was on steroids. It's obviously something we put into it, and I think that potion might be it. But obviously Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon do not feel the same way. They are very interested in meeting Twilight. They want to find out stuff about her. Again, it is purely, obviously, they make it quite obvious here that it is purely just for the novelty of meeting Twilight. They don't actually want to learn anything from her. I suppose, you know, the people who were annoyed about, you know, there being little to no acknowledgement of the fact that Twilight is a princess during this season, they're going to like this fact. You know, the Twilight's ascension has been acknowledged here. And I actually like the fact that Diamond, Tiara and Silver Spoon do not realise that Twilight is a princess now. Making it sort of confirming what I was suspecting before, that maybe part of the reason why Twilight has not been acknowledged as a princess since, you know, the season premiere is because they don't realise she's a princess. Actually, I think there's a line from Diamond Tiara saying not only is she a princess, but she's also an alicorn. So, you know, that kind of confirms alicorns and princesses are not one in the same. That you can be an alicorn without being a princess, and you can be a princess without being an alicorn. It freaked me out when I saw Twilight at the fast food restaurant, how much food she was eating there. I had no idea Twilight ate so much heavily processed foods. She realised how bad that stuff is for you. I mean, she has like 5 burgers there, and she wipes her mouth with a burger as well. It's a little bit disgusting. I suppose maybe that's, again, maybe kind of trying to show that, you know, Twilight, even though she's an alicorn princess now, she's not perfect or anyway. She is just kind of a normal citizen who, you know, likes to eat junk food from time to time and eats rather disgustingly. The way the CMC is acting in, I would say, probably like the latter half of the episode, it kind of bugs me that they never really seem to sort of cotton on to the fact that Diamond, Tiara, Silver Spoon and, you know, kind of the rest of the kids at the school, they are basically just using them. They never really seem to figure that out. Or if they do figure it out, it doesn't really seem to bother them in any kind of way. And I don't know, I would have thought that they would want to do something about that. And it's not until, you know, they get to Twilight's house and they are revealed, their lies have been revealed and they're exposed for what they've done wrong, that they actually kind of cotton on to the fact that the only reason anybody wanted anything to do with them was because of Princess Twilight. Understand and admire the way that they kind of like the idea that Diamond, Tiara and Silver Spoon are not bullying them now. They actually do kind of want to know them. I think Apple Bloom has that line at one point, you know, it's kind of nice that they're not bullying us now. They actually kind of want to be our friends, even if it isn't really for the right reasons. And again, I think that's something a lot of kids can relate to, you know, as well as being bullies. I think Diamond, Tiara and Silver Spoon probably are a couple of the more popular ponies at school, you know, because they are obviously characters that crave popularity. And they obviously come from rich backgrounds, so that's obviously going to help. So it makes sense that the CMT would kind of like the idea that Diamond, Tiara and Silver Spoon now want to be associated with them. A couple of minor things that I kind of liked. That hoof shiner that Scootaloo has sounds a bit like Spike. I will have to look up and see if that is the same voice actress. And then when the CMC are running back to Twilight's house and the way the kids are following them, one of them looks like Redcord, by the way. But the way they're just sort of walking towards them, it sort of reminds me of like zombie movies, you know? And the way that they're chanting Twilight Time, it's kind of like, you know, the zombie groaning, brains, brains, you know, it kind of reminded me of that, the way they were just slowly walking towards them. There's blueprints of the box on Twilight's walls, so obviously she is still studying it and she has not forgotten about it. And, you know, maybe at some point later in the series she may figure out that perhaps these items that Rarity, Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie have been given may be keys to the box or something. Once again, Spike is just the butt of jokes again, you know, he's only in there to be made fun of, and that is really kind of annoying me, really. Because, you know, it is interesting actually that the CMC and Spike are more or less the same kind of age. I'd like to see a bit more of them interacting with one another and trying to get along as friends a bit more, but no, we didn't have any of that in this episode. It was kind of funny though that he makes that huge pile of nachos, and by the time he's finished, everybody's already gone, and then he just chucks them all in the bin. Oh, poor old Spike. Once again, just being made fun of. You know, gotta feel sorry for him. I do find him quite a fascinating kind of character, and I would like to see him be a bit better explored, really. But I think this is also the first time Dave Polsky has written the CMC, like, at all. Like, obviously it's his first CMC episode, but I don't think they have even briefly appeared in any of his previous episodes. I mean, and I think he's written them okay. They seem kind of mature, they kind of understand how to deal with difficult kind of situations. It just annoys me a little that they don't maybe sort of cotton on that they are being exploited here, they are being used by Diamond Tiara. But yeah, it is a good episode, I think, and I actually liked Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, well, in the sense of I liked them as characters. Obviously, I don't approve of what they were doing. So yeah, I actually did think they were decently portrayed here. I think it was absolutely the right decision to have them in this role, and rather than introduce completely new characters. Because if they'd introduced new characters, it would have just been, hey, here's some new characters that we're supposed to believe are really popular and everybody wants to be associated with. And have never been previously established as being that. You know, why have we never seen them before? So that wouldn't have made sense, introducing new characters. So I did like Twilight Time, and I don't think it was an absolutely outstanding kind of episode, but for the most part I did enjoy it, and I actually did like Diamante and Silver Spoon for once.